When we're emotional eaters, we're often very oblivious of what's going on inside of us because we're just obsessed with food and we don't realize how connected it is to our emotional well-being. We're just checked out. We're just thinking about chocolate or popcorn or whatever. We're not realizing how many emotions are going on inside of us. Welcome, everybody, to Confessions of a Binge Eater. I'm excited to bring to you a topic today that is super real and raw, and as usual, from my personal experience, those are the kinds of things I want to bring to you. I just got back from Europe, had an amazing time, in spite of the bittersweet experience of my partner's mama dying. So she died at 92. Thankfully, we actually got to be with her before she fell ill, and then she took a nosedive, and then we were there for her last few days of life. My partner's from the Netherlands, so we went to the Netherlands, and then we went to Italy because my partner was in a beach frisbee tournament, and then we went back to the Netherlands. But I want to share because this trip kind of took a bite out of me. I mean, we were traveling and I was cheering him on the sidelines at the beach, and we were going out to dinner every night with the team, the Dutch team that he played with. The whole thing was amazing. But I was away from my home base and I had to work a little harder to get my self-care in, and sometimes I felt awkward and insecure around everybody, and I don't drink, so sometimes when we were out and they were not heavily drinking at all, but they were drinking and I wasn't, or they were eating desserts and I wasn't, so I had moments of feeling apart from. Point is, at some point, I started to feel kind of what I call crunchy. Like I started to feel like not my happy-go-lucky self, not feeling all carefree, but a little annoyed, a little grumpy, a little complainy, a little self-pitying, a nice mixture of self-pity and grumpiness and tiredness, right? Point is, when I get that way, things don't roll off my back the way they normally do. I wake up on most days really happy. Like I feel happy. I have an amazing life, and I've cleared out a lot of the blocks to God's love and light that flows through me. And I am so grateful for that. I'm grateful that I've had that experience. But in this particular moment, I was feeling crusty, like I could bite somebody's head off. And of course, the head that was closest to mine was my partner's. So what I did is I told him, he loves to give me a hard time. He's really good at giving people a hard time in jest, but he dishes it like nobody's business. And it always makes me laugh because he's funny. But in this particular moment, he was dishing something. And I said to him, I want you to know I'm a little crusty right now. And if you keep on, it's not going to end well. Because I knew if he kept on, I wasn't going to be able to take it the way I normally would. And I would get upset, or I would bite his head off, or something bad would happen. And so I just noticed that I'm not in my usual easygoing, light and love state. And things aren't going to land in the same way. And I'm going to be sensitive, and I might get my feelings hurt, and then I might lash out. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could happen. So I just warned him. I said, I'm warning you. I'm not in a great place right now. I'm crunchy. And so if you keep poking the bear, the bear's going to growl. And he was like, oh, okay. And he asked me kind of what he could do to help and what's going on. I'm like, no, I just need to voice it. I need to put words to how I'm feeling so something bad doesn't happen. I don't want to be a bitch. So the good news is he was like, wow, thank you. That is the coolest thing that you are aware of that. And the fact that I was aware of it and voiced it in the spirit of, I don't want to do something mean or hurtful. I don't want to make a mess here. The fact that I did that even lessened the feeling itself. The fact that I put words to it and I said, look, I'm not feeling my usual self, let's not do all this poking. He's like, that is really cool that you just gave me a heads up, so I can course correct and we don't have to have a blow up. And so this is my simple message to you. The more self-awareness you have, the more you can observe yourself and your state. When we're emotional eaters, we're often very oblivious of what's going on inside of us because we're just obsessed with food and we don't realize how connected it is to our emotional well-being. We're just checked out. We're just thinking about chocolate or popcorn or whatever. We're not realizing how many emotions are going on inside of us. And this is such a big part of the work I do with my clients, is helping them with emotional management, like how to manage our emotions in a healthy, productive, healing way. Because in the past, it was just stuff those suckers down. Stuff them down and keep eating to keep them down. And it ends up in sickness and unhappiness, misery, lots of blow-ups, irresponsibility with our feelings, projecting them on other people, being a victim, and such. And so in order to not have that be our path anymore, in order to take a new tack, we have to become self-aware. We have to observe our thoughts, observe how we're feeling. And that's not an overnight thing. We have to get hip to what's actually going on inside of us. And that is a journey, friends. And when you do it in community, like we do with the Heal Your Hunger community, it makes it so much easier. Because the more self-aware I am, the more likely it is that I can catch myself and say, we're in a danger zone right now. I have to take a time out, go for a walk, do some prayer, make sure I get my second meditation in, write out my feelings when I'm upset, constructive tools that can help me de-stress so I can eat less. And that's what I want for you. But it does take a commitment. It doesn't happen on its own. You have to be committed to change. If you're just looking for weight loss, if you're just looking for a diet, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss the opportunity to change from the inside out. And I promise you, it will directly impact your food if you're committed. So that was it. I gave him a heads up. We averted disaster, and he was so appreciative that he got a chance to course correct so he could stay happy. And I want that for you. When your spouse is annoying the heck out of you, take a time out and tell him or her, I need a time out because I'm not my usual self. Like I'm a little edgy here. I'm a little tired. I need some extra self-care. I need to take just some time for myself. Do the self-care. It's not selfish. If you're averting a disaster of biting somebody's head off or being irresponsible with your feelings, who does that serve? That serves nobody. So remember that when you take time for yourself, you actually give others the opportunity to experience the best version of you and maybe even to support you when you're not feeling like the best version of you. But that's going to happen when you vocalize where you're at instead of like holding your breath and just hoping for the best, which never works because we always end up blowing, right? We can't contain it. So I hope this is helpful. It's just a little lesson from my travels. And the more you communicate with your spouse, the more clear your communication, the more you own your stuff and your mood and where you're at, the better the relationship can be. Because a lot of our eating comes from stress, and a lot of our stress comes from relationship stuff. So just a little birdie in your ear, clean it up, get real, vocalize how you're actually feeling, avert disaster, and heal. I love you so much. Please share this show with somebody you think could use some inspiration and to get off the dieting roller coaster ride. I'll see you in the next show. If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.